What up, TikTok? It's your man's Ken Jackson. This is the Ken Jackson Experience. Thank everyone who has joined in already, and whether you stay or not, the fact that you joined in is a reason for me to appreciate you. So, anyway, I'm still under the weather. As you can see, my eyes are still fucked up. But I was bored. Haven't been doing much of anything but just sitting around, taking antibiotics, and really finding out still, who's close to me and who's not. There's a few people in my life who I used to hold in high regard. I'm having second thoughts about that because I've literally been out of circulation now for about 2 weeks. My phone has not rang one time from any of these so-called friends and loved ones of mine. So, and I've actually, when I got out of the hospital this past week, I actually reached out, made a couple of phone calls, got no answers, sent out text messages, got no answers. So, staying true to my nature, I'm done with it. Cutting them all loose. See, this is what you got to do with certain people who claim to be your friends, claim to care about you, but you never hear from them when you're down. You don't hear from them when you're going through troubles. They don't call to check on you or, like I said, not even a text message. No response or replies to the messages that I've sent out. So I'm done with them. Fuck them. Straight up, fuck them. Because I can't afford to have people like that in my life. You know what I mean? And I understand people are going through their own things, but no matter how fucked up I am, unless I'm like unconscious, I still reach out to the ones that I care about. You know what I mean? I will, at minimum send a text message, and say, hey, I was thinking about you or whatever, and, I'm not feeling too well right now, but, you can give me a call or shoot me a message back, let me know all is good with you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But nothing. Crickets. So... and for me, it's very easy to cut somebody out my fucking life that's not bringing positive energy. It's very easy for me. It used to not be so easy. I used to care about people so much, back in the day that, it became a detriment. I used to let people that I thought cared about me almost fuck my life up because I was caring for them so much. The ones that call you when they need something, and because they know no matter what you're gonna do, bend over backwards to help them out, and that type of shit. And family don't count. Family's family. So I know some of y'all will disagree with that, but blood is blood. And family is not who you make family or who you call family. Your fucking family is your family. The ones that share the same DNA with you. And family always gets a bit more grace than non-family. But family can be cut off too, But the difference is the fact that we don't get to choose our family. We don't get to choose our blood. So, we gotta love them. We don't have to like them, but we gotta love them because that's our blood, plain and simple. So like I said, they get a little bit more grace. But these other people that you allow into your life, your so-called friends and associates and shit, see, you choose them. And you choose them based on certain criteria that you set for them and for yourself. So when you're having issues with those groups or those people, it's up to you how much or how long you're going to tolerate it, because you welcomed them into your life. You know what I'm saying? They weren't born into your life, if that makes sense to y'all. Because there is a difference. My dad, tough man, gets on my fucking nerves though. But he's my dad. You know what I'm saying? My brothers, my two sisters, to the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? I'm down for my brother and my sisters. No matter what. But I have some other people in my life that are very close to me, have been very close to me for a lot of years. Some of them I grew up with, that close. And some of them I used to talk to every day, faithfully. And there used to be a time when I would give my left arm or right leg, to help them out of a bind, with no expectations. See, the thing with me is, when I decide to help somebody or I decide to do something for somebody, I don't have any expectations of return at all. I don't. There's no conditions set on what I do for anyone. I do it because I choose to do it, because I care, or because I feel like, hey, they need help. If I can help, I'm going to help. But then there comes a point where you say, you know what? I really fucked up right now. You know what I'm saying? Really fucked up. I don't want anything from you. I don't want you to help me if you can't. I don't need you to help me if you can't. But I would like a shout out. Say, yo, hey Ken, what's up, man? How you feeling? I ain't heard from you in a while. You know what I'm saying? Just check on me. I could have fucking passed away and they never would have known it, because they don't even check up on me like I check up on them all the time. Like I said, I don't get a response a lot of times from certain ones, but certain ones have had a little bit more grace than others. You know what I mean? But when it's just, you get to a point where you be like, okay, fine, I'm not going to check up on them anymore. They're not checking for me. I'm not going to check for them. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? But they'll never be able to say, Ken didn't give a shit, because they can look back through their history of messages and missed phone calls. That, yo, Ken was calling. Ken was sending me messages. Man, I didn't respond to none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Now we're trying to call Ken, and Ken ain't responding to us. Hey, I just give the same energy that I'm giving, basically. That's how the universe works. The universe is going to give you what you give it. You put negative shit out into the universe, guess what you're going to get back? You're going to get back negative shit. That's how it works, y'all. It's real talk. Trust when I say that. Trust and believe. The universe is exactly how people should be. You get back what you give out. You know, if you're expecting, certain things, to come into your life, put those things out there. Put that energy out there. You know what I mean? You got people that sit around and they're always talking about, woe is me. Oh, my life is so fucked up. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't get this. I can't get that. And guess what? They never do. Because the universe is giving them what they're talking about. And I'm so glad that I've never fallen into that trap of speaking negativity into my life. I've always had big dreams, and big desires, for myself. And I've always achieved everything that I've ever wanted for myself. I have. Somebody asked me, yo, Ken, man, why didn't you do this and do that while you were in the music business, man? You could have been as big as this person or that person or this or that. It's never what I wanted. I didn't go into the music business, to be famous or to be this big public figure. I went into the music business because I liked making music and I liked helping other artists achieve their dreams, because I was never an artist. I was always behind the scenes. I was a manager first, and I became a producer, and I was happy, very happy and comfortable in what I did. I've owned several recording studios over the years. Some of them, were successful. A couple of them were not so successful. But I was still very grateful to be able to live my life on my own terms. You know what I'm saying? And I've made a lot of money over the years. I've blown a lot of money over the years. But most importantly, I've always been able to live my life on my terms. I didn't care about anybody's expectations of me or what anybody thought of me, because I wasn't living my life for anybody else but for myself. I raised my children, and successfully, I might add, because all three of my children are fully grown and doing well on their own. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very close to my kids. You know what I'm saying? And very proud of them. Very proud of them and their achievements, And I keep life in a place, no drama, I don't do the drama thing, you know what I'm saying? I don't step on anybody else's toes. I let people live, and make their choices and do what they do. You know what I'm saying? So life is really, really simple if you make it, because you don't have to deal with other people's problems. You don't have to make or allow other people to make their emergencies your priority. That's something I've never done. Yes, over the years, I have gone out of my way helping, friends. I've helped complete strangers, and sometimes I've gotten a little excessive with my charity, but I don't regret it. I don't regret anything that I've ever done in life. And at the same time, I don't let people take advantage of my kindness. See, that's another thing. You can't be taken advantage of unless you allow it. That's real. Nothing happens in your life unless you allow it. Yes, circumstances come up, situations happen. There's so many things in life that we can't control. But there's one thing in life that we have total control of, and that's how we respond to each and every situation that comes our way. You have 100% control over how you respond. I'm a responsive kind of guy. I'm not a reactionary guy. And let me explain to you what that means. I don't let my emotions make my decisions. I don't get all out of character because something didn't go my way. I don't let myself make a rash decision because I'm in my feelings about something. Never been that dude. Emotional people are reactionary people. And trust when I tell you, you got control over your reactions only if you got control over your emotions. Most people don't have control of their emotions. They get all pissed off and feeling a way about something, and then next thing you know, they go out and they do something real fucking dumb, and they always end up regretting it later. Instead of sitting back and looking at the situation, taking in all the information, and coming up with a rational response to the situation, as opposed to an emotional reaction. Write that down, y'all. Write that down. Don't be reactionary. Be responsive. Be responsible. You know what I'm saying? It's a very powerful difference. And trust when I tell you, if you become a more responsible person and a more responsive person, your life will improve dramatically. Get out your feelings. Stay out your feelings. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, not have feelings about certain things, because we're human. We're gonna have feelings about many, many things. But you cannot let your feelings rule your decision making. You can't. It never ends well when you let your emotions make your decisions. It never ends well. I pride myself on being responsible and responsive by nature. Growing up, I never fell into peer pressure or nothing like that. You know why? Because whenever my friends were about to go do some dumb shit, I was always that guy that had the second, third, fourth, and fifth thought about it. I was that dude to be like, first I would think, what would my mama think? what would my mama say? Secondly, I would think, what would my daddy do to me if I got caught doing this dumb shit? Didn't want to disappoint my mother by any means. And I didn't want to catch the wrath of my father by any means. So those two reasons alone kept me out of a lot of shit. Now, I get it, for those single parent households where you might not have a father, you might not have your mother, but you still have a brain and you still knew right from wrong. Let me tell you, when I was 12, 13, 14, and 15, I knew when I was doing bad shit, when wrong shit. I knew right from wrong. And when I did wrong shit and got caught, I got my ass whooped. I never got a whooping for the same thing twice in my life, ever. Ever. I've never got whooped twice for the same thing. And I've gotten some whoopings, when I was growing up. Boy, I got some straight up abuse from my dad, my grandma growing up. Mom never whooped us. Mom was more, in our heads like, nigga, you better not. You know what I'm saying? You know better. Don't make me tell your father. My grandmother would tear that ass up. And she was the worst. She was even worse than Pops, because my grandmother would make you go choose your weapon of choice to get your ass beat. And nowadays, that shit'll get somebody locked the fuck up. And I think that because of that, we have so many problems now with these youngsters growing up because you can't discipline them. Let me tell you, the old school discipline worked. All y'all in my generation, you know what it was. You know what it was. And it was the whole fucking neighborhood. Like, we knew everybody in the neighborhood. All our neighbors, and all our neighbors' parents were our parents too. And they they had the card to whoop your ass too if they caught you doing some dumb shit, and then they would bring your ass home and you get another ass whooping by your parents at the house. That's how it was when we grew up. It's not like that now. It's not like that now. Because of new laws and societal brainwashing now, we got to be soft on the kids. We got to be soft on the kids. And, too, because nowadays, people don't know who the fuck their neighbors are. I got friends living in apartment buildings and don't know who lives in the apartment next door to them. That's crazy. No more community. The community has been destroyed. Yes, the system did that. It's systemic. How the communities have been dismantled, basically. They don't want us to know each other. They don't want us to truly interact with each other on a social and personal level, because there was a time when the community was together, when the people were together, and we didn't fall for the okie doke. I can remember many times growing up, shit would go down in the neighborhood, and every freaking adult in that fucking neighborhood was on that shit. Somebody's house got broken into. It was a couple of days. We all knew who did it. And the motherfuckers was either caught by the police or caught by the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have like career criminals in the hood that, didn't have fools standing out on the block. We didn't have any of that shit like we have now. These little kids out here terrorizing the neighborhoods, and terrorizing the kids. We didn't have that shit. It wouldn't have went down, not in the neighborhood I grew up in. Not in the neighborhood I grew up in. It was too many in the community. It was like, yo, why you standing out here on the corner in front of my house? Take your ass on somewhere else. This ain't no gathering spot out here. Get the fuck off my corner. It just didn't go down. We would go down. The elementary school I went to was like a block away. That's where we would all go play. All the kids in the neighborhood. We'd be down behind the school, playing in the schoolyard. Kickball, baseball, stickball, handball, whatever, basketball. That was our gathering spot most days in the summertime and after school, Or we could ride bikes around the neighborhood, and not have to worry about nothing because the neighborhood was looking out for us. We had a street a block behind our house called Church Place. It was called Church Place. Well, that was the name of the street, but there was also a church across the street from us on the corner, and then there was a big yard behind the church. All the kids, all of us in the neighborhood, we play in the churchyard, or we play, on the back street, we call it, because, one, there was no traffic other than the people that lived there coming in and out, and then they came in, when they drove in, they was driving like they had some fucking sense because they knew kids were outside playing. It was just a different time, I guess. I don't know. Can't let the kids go outside now, worried about them getting hit by a car or these little savages riding these mini bikes up and down the street, or driving by, shooting up the neighborhood. It's just not safe. It's not safe anymore. And it's sad. It's real sad. But I guess that's a part of life. Everything changes, I guess. I'm sure it was quite different, when, I hear stories about my dad and my mom when they were kids, My mom, she's from the country. She grew up in Arkansas. I mean, in the country of Arkansas, out in the sticks. You know what I'm saying? The man I knew was my grandfather, who was actually my mom's uncle, because she was raised by her aunt and uncle, and he was a Brahma bull, I guess farmer or whatever. We would go visit them when I was a kid, and he had this huge pasture. It wasn't his. He was working for the white man, Mr. Bryant. And everybody in town was scared of Mr. Bryant. He basically owned all the land in Waldo, Arkansas, I remember going to Mr. Bryant's house some days to pick up, Papaw, and we had to go to the fucking back door. You know what I'm saying? That shit was crazy. My dad, the Vietnam vet militant that he was like, fuck that. Going to no goddamn back door. These motherfuckers can't receive me at the front door, then fuck them. And I remember plenty of times my grandparents be like, man, you can't talk to them white folks like that. My dad was like, fuck them white folks. Didn't give a goddamn. Understand, this is in the late 60s, early 70s. Civil rights was in full effect. and marches were going on, riots were happening. Just a different time, y'all. It was a different time. Now, these kids are growing up with no social skills. They don't know how to deal with their emotions. They're out here wilding out in the streets. No discipline. No respect for authority. No respect for property. No respect for life. And then we got grown-ass motherfuckers now, And I'm talking about the 20 and 30-somethings. Just out of control. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Social media. I'm not even going to say social media is the problem, because it's not. Social media is not the problem. Because social media ain't social, for one. There's nothing social about it. You know what I'm saying? It's just people. People have lost touch with their humanity. And I think humanity is fading away. We got savages running the government. We got savages out here on these streets. It's just crazy. Every day, all we hear about is the war, and the billionaires this, and it's corporate this and corporate that. And profits are down and profits are up, and stock market this. None of that is real life, people. None of that's real life. We have to get back to being humans. We really do. We got all this technology, all these advanced tools and gadgets, and life is just fucked up in general. Because nobody knows how to connect on a social level anymore. Nobody knows how to just sit down and have a conversation. You can't even go out and meet people like you used to, because if you say something to somebody in public, they get all defensive and nervous and scared, like you're about to do something to them. Can't even talk to women anymore. You can't walk up to a woman and say, "Hey, how you doing? My name's Ken. You're so pretty," or whatever, without, you might catch some hands. Get cussed the fuck out. What happened to us, man? What happened? I was watching some videos earlier today of these, women talking about, what they want from a man and what they expect from a man. And I'm thinking, you're expecting all of this shit, you wanting all of this shit, and you got nothing yourself. You got nothing yourself. And listen, don't get it twisted, y'all, because back in the day, I was raised to meet a woman, court a woman. If I felt like she was the one, try to build that relationship, develop that relationship. And yeah, I would want to take care of her. Absolutely. And she, if she felt the same way about me, she would be like, cool, it's a good guy, man. He works hard. He cares about me and this, that, and the other. And then we try to build a life together. But it's fucked up now. Oh no. if a man wants to deal with me, he got to be making, 300,000 a year, and has to have this big house. It has to drive a certain type of car. And really? But you're living in the projects, broke as a motherfucking joke, not trying to do anything for yourself. With 2 or 3 kids by 2 or 3 other dudes, and you think that a together man wants to deal with that? And you actually think that you deserve to have a man who has no kids, is financially stable, and looking to build a life, with someone, and you think you're the prize? Make that shit make sense, y'all. Make it make sense. I had some, I'm going to call them girls because they weren't women, recently approached me, and, and we got into a conversation, and like, you got kids? Yeah, I got 3 kids. How many baby mamas you got? I said, what? The fuck you mean how many baby mamas I got? One, I don't have any baby mamas. I have an ex-wife, and I had all 3 of my kids with my ex-wife. No, I don't have 3 kids with multiple women, and no, that I'm not that guy. My youngest child is 26 years old. My oldest is 30. My middle child is 29. Today, as a matter of fact, which I need to call her and say happy birthday. Hold on, because she's hold on, let me do this right quick. Because I'm proud of my kids. I love my babies, all 3 of them. Hello? Hey, happy birthday, baby. How you doing? What you got? Right. What you got planned today?
We finna go to the beach.
Oh, okay. Okay. Ooh. I got to later, probably tomorrow, I'm gonna go down to the state park and get that family pass. Then I can, because we can get out to the state park. I can get a lifetime family pass because I'm a veteran, So, but I'm gonna go down and get that probably tomorrow when I'm out. All right. Well, holler at me when y'all get back.
All right.
All right, sweetie. I'll catch you later. I love you.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so she's about to take my grandbabies out to the beach. I got 4 of those, too. Oh, my God, those jokers. Man, there's something else. But anyway, I often wonder what happened, to the black experience, and don't get me wrong, I'm not naive. I know that the black community has been destroyed from the inside out, actually, and it's a systemic problem. It's been the plan and the mission of those against us from day one. For the last 400 plus years. Think about it, and right now I'm only talking about Black Americans, okay? Black Americans who are direct descendants of the American slave trade. We are basically the only race on the planet that had to create a culture for ourselves, because our culture was robbed from us. Our culture was stolen. Everything was stolen from us. Our entire identity was stolen and whitewashed. That's a fact, y'all. There's a lot of y'all out there that truly don't understand how that feels. White people, you will never understand how that feels. You'll never understand how that feels. Because although I call myself Ken Jackson because that's the name that was given to me, find a Jackson in Africa. Find somebody named Ken in Africa. And I'm not talking about just like, modern times. I'm talking about, let's get down to the brass tacks. There ain't no Kenneths and there ain't no Jacksons from Africa, from whatever country in Africa. Because Africa's a huge continent. I have no freaking idea who I am beyond the American slave trade. Don't know. No records. No records of where my family came from. My lineage traces back to a plantation in Georgia, in Augusta, Georgia. Think about that, y'all. And I actually know the plantation where my family came from. But beyond that, I have no fucking idea. I have no idea what my language might have been. I have no idea what country in Africa my ancestors came from. There are no records of that shit. We as black folks had to create a whole new culture here in America. Now, I say that to say this. We're Americans. Born and raised. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is now. We cannot go backwards. We can't. My father was born and raised here. My grandfather was born and raised here. My great-grandfather was born and raised here. Now, beyond my great-grandfather, I don't know. No records. No way to trace it. They got all this DNA and everything bullshit, but think about the fact that over the last 400 plus years, our DNA has been mixed up like a fucking pot of gumbo. So you can't even trust that anymore. You can't. So we have to embrace our situation. We are Americans, not African Americans. We are fucking Americans. We are Native Americans. We are. And we need to be proud of that. We need to be grateful. Because it could have went a whole different way. But we're here. We survived. We survived the greatest crime committed against humans in the history of human evolution. We survived that. Black Americans have survived that. Jewish people want to talk about the Holocaust. 6 million Jews executed, murdered by Nazi Germany. I'm not going to downplay that. Not going to downplay it at all. But see, here's the major difference. Jewish people are not a race. They are an ethno-religious group. They're a group of people who share cultural and ethnic roots. It's not like you can't look at Jewish people and say, oh, they're like Caucasians, you know what I'm saying, or Chinese, or Indians, you know what I'm saying? It's not the same. Not the same. We, on the other hand, are Negroes. Negroids. That's a scientific term for black folks, for melanated people. There is a distinct difference. Now, as I said, though, we're Americans now. We have to embrace that. And we should be proud of that because we did survive. And because we survived proves our resilience. But with all that we've been through, all that we've survived, all that we have managed to come through as a people, I'm disappointed. Because we could be doing a lot better. Because as black Americans, we should be coming together to lift each other up. Not hold each other down. Not to be like crabs in a bucket. We should be doing everything we can to pool our resources and to work together to lift our people up. And it's not to say we should hate everybody else or that we should work against everybody else. No, we should be working for us. Just like the Jewish people do. Just like Asian people do. Just like Hispanic people do. Just like European people do. Because out of all of the different groups of people in the world, black Americans are probably the most self-destructive. that's what's sad. That's what's sad. We really need to come together as a group and make sure that we're all good. Okay? Because we got a lot of economic influence. A lot. Like black buying power. We represent a massive economic force. We have a collective annual purchasing power north of $2.1 trillion. Do you know what we could do for ourselves if we took that and pulled it together and put it towards lifting us up out of oppression? If we took our $2.1 trillion trillion dollar buying power and put it towards developing black communities, do you know what we could accomplish? First thing we got to do, though, is we have to clean up our neighborhoods. And that doesn't take money. It doesn't take money to clean up the neighborhoods. Literally get out here in the fucking streets and clean up the fucking neighborhoods. We need to get these corner boys off the block. We need to stop co-signing the bullshit that we see every day in the black community. I don't have no fucking love for any of you corner boys out here talking about you doing what you gotta do. No, because it's not what you gotta do. It's not what you gotta do. It's what you chose to do. You chose to be a menace to society. And that's what you are to me, is a menace to society. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Yeah, there's a lot of injustice committed against black folks in this country. There is, and it needs to be dealt with. But we need to put the same fucking priority on the bullshit that we co-sign within our communities. These fools that are out here gangbanging and terrorizing the neighborhoods, they need to be put away. They need to be put away. I'm not going to cry for you. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for you. Because I have to put myself in the same shoes. I could have easily gone down that route. I could have been out on the block. I could have been doing all the dumb shit that these motherfuckers claim they gotta do. But I didn't. I chose a different route. I chose a harder route. I chose to be responsible for my own ass. I chose to get out here in this world and work and face these obstacles that were put in front of me. And I overcame these obstacles that were put in front of me. Because I didn't let anybody tell me that I could not do it. I didn't just lay down and give up and say, you know what? I'm going to get out here and hustle because hustling, you know, is going to help me get over. How many motherfuckers you know that's gotten over hustling? There's a few. There's a few. I'm not going to say that none have, because there's a lot of them out there now. I don't look up to none of these motherfuckers. They're not my heroes. Because how many of us died for them to reach their level of success where they're at? Jay-Z, Dame Dash, Big Meech, just to name a few, T.I., you know what I'm saying? All of these motherfuckers who started out in these streets doing street shit, and yo, I commend them. You turned your life around. You turned your life around. But no matter how much money you make, you can't bring back any of those lives that you destroyed, that you helped to destroy. Because, again, you know, a lot of them made their own decisions as well to be in that life. But there's a lot of innocent people who were lost because of your fucking hustling. Because of what you said you had to do. There's a lot of innocent people that didn't have shit to do with any of that lifestyle that were lost because of what you thought you had to do. And this is why I don't give a fuck how rich, how famous, or influential you become. You can't clean it up because you made a lot of money. You can't clean it up because, oh, I'm rich now, I'm going to build affordable housing, you know, for the hood, and I'm gonna buy air conditioners for everybody that lives in my projects I grew up in, you know, Kodak Black. I'm going to do this, that, or the other. You cannot bring those innocent lives back that you destroyed through your hustling. You can't. And for that, you get no passes from people like me. Call me a hater. Call me what you want. But there's no excuse. And this is what's wrong in the black community now, is because we make excuses for these people. And then, you know, they become rich and famous, and then we look up to them as if they're some sort of heroes or something. They're no fucking heroes. Because they're standing on, you're putting them on a pedestal now, and guess what? They still don't give a fuck about you. They still don't give a fuck about the communities that you know, they help to destroy. Jay-Z always talking about Marcy Projects. What has he done for Marcy Projects now that he's a billionaire? There shouldn't be any projects. Dude, you're a 3-time billionaire now. Why don't you go back to Marcy Projects and, hey, maybe remodel those buildings and you know, help create a little bit better living condition for those folks. Still not going to wipe away your crimes. It's not going to clean up the crimes you committed along the way. But, again, there's somebody in Marcy Projects now looking out like, this motherfucker, you know, always screaming Marcy Projects, and he ain't seen Marcy Projects since he left. You know what I'm saying? I see Diddy's about to possibly get out of prison. He's another one, almost billionaire. Used his money and power to terrorize people. Y'all look up to him like he's some kind of hero. Why don't y'all look up to Bill Cosby like he's a hero? Y'all forgot about Bill Cosby. Oh, he's just an old man that, you know, did something to some ugly ass white woman. And let me tell you, that bitch was ugly as fuck. I don't think Bill was trying to drug her. I think he was trying to take the drug to get past looking at her ugly ass. Yeah, I said it. But the thing is, here's the thing. Bill Cosby, right, spent his entire life doing great things for the black community. Bill Cosby put so many black kids through college. Oh my God, Bill Cosby did so much for black people and the black experience. And he got taken down by one ugly ass white woman who said he put a drug in her drink and took advantage of her. And again, listen, I don't condone what he may or may not have done. I don't condone it at all. But why don't you hold Bill Cosby in the same high regard as you hold these other motherfuckers like Big Meech and Jay-Z and Diddy and all the other fucking criminals in the rap game, you know, who started out in the streets selling drugs, you know, robbing people, and some of them still are, believe it or not. That's even more fucked up, that some of them are still living that street life behind the scenes. But y'all act like they're these fucking community heroes, or I don't know what the problem is with the black community. That we lift these motherfuckers up. Why don't we lift up some of the highly regarded black doctors and scientists, you know, who are really doing good things and have never lived that hustler lifestyle? Why is it that a hustler lifestyle is something that people rejoice about? Explain that shit to me. Explain it to me. Because I'll never understand it. You'll never make it make sense to me. I spent 30 years in the music business. And I've seen a lot of these motherfuckers come and go. I've seen a lot of the lives that they've wrecked. Which is probably part of the reason I actually didn't become a famous producer, because I wasn't willing to sell my soul to the fucking devil, which one of the industry's biggest demons just passed away yesterday or the day before. Clive Davis is gone. He's out of here. Let me tell you something. Clive was a demon. He's responsible for a lot of big careers. Yes, he was. He was also responsible for a lot of the fucking darkness that went on behind the scenes. Let's not sugarcoat the shit, y'all. It's not sugarcoated. I'm not afraid to talk about it. A lot of you are. It's okay. If you're afraid, you're afraid. You know? There's nothing wrong with being afraid. But let's get back onto this black community thing. Business ownership, okay? There are over 3.7 million black-owned businesses across the country serving as vital engines for local job creation and neighborhood development. Why don't we praise these people? You know, maybe that's what I should do with my channel. Start focusing on black businesses, small businesses that are doing good things for the community, that are providing jobs, you know, and keeping, you know, some of the wealth within the community. I think that will be a focus of mine moving forward. Wealth accumulation. Okay, median black household wealth accumulation has seen notable recent gains, reaching approximately 45,000. 45,000? That ain't shit. They're calling that black wealth. 45,000 a year average. Significant disparities persist in median income and wealth compared to white households. Average black household don't make near as much as the average white household. And it's not that they can't. It's a simple fact that a lot of black households will not do the things that they should be doing to increase their wealth or to create a better lifestyle for us in the black community. So there's a lot that needs to be done, you know, but it starts with us. Nobody's coming to rescue us, y'all. There ain't no savior. Jesus ain't gonna drop down out the sky and you know, wave his hands and make it all good for black folks. It ain't gonna happen, y'all. It ain't gonna happen. It starts with us in the community. We have to start taking care of us. Maybe we need to be segregated. I don't know. Actually, segregation is not a bad thing. I mean, if certain groups of people want to stick with their certain groups of people, they should. I ain't mad at that. You know, I'm not. We do it anyway. We only stick with the groups of people that we consider our circle, right? I have no problem if a bunch of redneck, skinhead, hillbilly motherfuckers want to go live in the community all together and not want me there, because I don't want to be there. I got no problem with a bunch of, say, African people. Not Americans, Africans. Want to live in the same community? Yo, Haitians, you want to live in your own community? There's nothing wrong with it. People want to be with people that they share things with. They share similarities. They share language. They share culture. Got no problem with that. I don't need this restaurant to allow me in. Yo, if a restaurant opened up in my neighborhood and said, yo, we don't want black folks in here. Okay, guess what? Black folks, don't go. But they're in the neighborhood. Okay. Even more better. They ain't going to be here long if we don't patronize them. Because the people that they're trying to get ain't going to come over here to our neighborhood to eat there. They're just not going to do it. You know what I mean? See, that shit will naturally work itself out. We got a lot of corner stores in the black community. Every black person out there, you know what the fuck a corner store is. Because it ain't owned by black folks. Most of them are owned by Arabs. Which is cool. Because me personally, I consider Arabs to be us. You know what I'm saying? What I don't like about the corner stores, though, is the mediocre products that they sell. They sell junk. And that's the problem. I got no problem with the Arab ownership or the Indian ownership. I got a problem with the products they sell to us. But we got control of that, people. We don't have to buy that shit. We don't have to patronize these stores that are selling garbage to us. But they're all over the black community. You won't see a fucking corner store in the white community. You won't see liquor stores in the white community. You won't see dollar stores in the white community. You won't see pharmacies in the white community. You know why? Because they don't allow that shit in the community. Unless they're gated communities, and then, you know, they have some real nice shit with good product. You know, you see, do you understand the difference? See, we accept mediocrity. We accept it. We co-sign mediocrity. And that's another problem with us. Instead of demanding higher quality, we just accept whatever the fuck comes our way. We got to stop that shit. We got to stop it. I'm kind of all over the place today, right? Again, thanks to everybody that has joined. You know, even if you've only stayed for a second or two, it's all good, y'all. It's all good. I appreciate you anyway. But you know, I'm on my let's save our community thing now. Fuck the politics. I'm done with the politics because shit that's going on, you can't make that shit up. And if you can't see what's happening on the national political level, then something's wrong. You're probably part of the problem. I want to save my people. I want to save my community nationwide. That's what I want to do. I have wanted to do that for a long time. I just didn't know where to start. Because it's so hard, so difficult getting the support, you know, that's needed in order to do it properly. But I'm on a mission the rest of this year to start, you know, making some big improvements here locally in the black community that I live in. Hopefully, you know, some of y'all out there can do the same. And you know, maybe if we get this thing kicked off here properly and get it rolling good, you know, maybe, you know, you out there can use this as a blueprint, you know, for saving your community. Because there's been a lot of us before in the past that have jumped out here and say, hey, you know, we want to do something for the community, but some reason or another it falls off, it falls short, you know, they give up. But and it's not because it's not easy. It's really not easy. The hardest part is changing minds. We have to reprogram the mindset within the black community. We have to get people off that thinking that when you're trying to do something good, oh, you're trying to be like them white folks. Hell yeah, I'm trying to be just like them white folks. I want to live good. I want my community to look good. I want my community to you know, be clean and order and look inviting. You know what I'm saying? I can't stand to drive around the hood and it looks like a fucking battle zone. It looks like a hellhole. That shit burns me up. I wish I wish I had become a billionaire. I wish I had the money to go through the neighborhood and say, you know what? We're gonna and start block by block. We're gonna clean these blocks up. Go through. We're gonna fix these streets. We're gonna clean up these fucking yards. Well, I drive around and I see so many fucking yards and they got shit everywhere. They look like fucking salvage yards. And the shit's just sad to me. And I think to myself, why don't these people clean up their fucking yard? Just clean up. Just start with your own fucking yard. Clean that shit up. It don't take money to pick up trash and get it to the trash can and set that shit on the side of the road so that the trash collectors can pick that shit up and haul it away. It don't cost money to do that. And I don't care where you're living. If you're in the projects or if you're living in a real house on the block, just start with your own fucking space. Clean it the fuck up. Go to that fucking Family Dollar where you go to buy all the other bullshit that you buy. Buy a fucking broom, some trash bags, a fucking rake. Go back home and clean your fucking yard up. Let's start there. Call the salvage people to come haul away those fucking cars that ain't been running in the last 5, 10 years, been sitting in your fucking backyard on the side of your house that ain't never gonna be driven again. Guess what? Do you know you can turn that into a few dollars? They will pay you to salvage that motherfucker. No, you're not gonna get rich off of it, but it's a few dollars that you can probably use towards something else. Start with your own fucking yard. That's going to be my own personal initiative, I believe. I'm going to start getting out here and start figuring out how to get these people to start cleaning up their own fucking yards. Got to start somewhere, I guess. Can't afford a landscaper? I know somebody in the neighborhood got a lawnmower. Somebody in the neighborhood got a weed whacker. Yo, just get into your own community. If you got some of these tools, get into your own neighborhood and be like, yo, let's start cleaning up. Community first, y'all. Is that asking too much? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm asking too much of the people that I love so much. I don't want to just give up, though. I don't want to just throw my hands up and say, you know what, fuck it. There ain't no hope. But we have to be our own lifeboat, y'all. Nobody's coming to save us. There's nothing I can do for you if you're not willing to do it for yourself. I mean, my family, we have always worked hard to try to keep our properties looking good. We keep our grass cut. You know what I'm saying? We keep it trimmed up as best we can. When, it gets a little tough here in South Florida because there are a lot of weeds that grow, and it takes an effort. Cut the grass every 2 weeks. Sometimes once or twice in between, because if it rains, this grass grows like crazy. We got to keep the weed and feed out there, But we do it as a family, you know what I'm saying? And, like, our little block here, we do know our neighbors. And we work together with our neighbors. You know what I'm saying? To keep the block looking good. I wish I could infect the other communities around, you know, to do the same thing. But I drive around and I see so many fucked up ass properties, you know, and black folks just living like savages, sitting under the tree because it's hot as hell, playing dominoes and shit, but trash all around the fucking. And I'm gonna start compiling footage of this community because y'all know what I'm talking about. You know the fucking yards on the block. Shit, maybe your yard is one of them that's all fucked up. Grass ain't cut, trash all over the fucking place. It's like people living in the projects. Projects are fucked up. Kids running around throwing shit everywhere. Adults throwing shit everywhere. You know. And you say, yo, clean that up, pick that up. That ain't my response. That's fucking city supposed to do that. Really? You live here. You live here. Shouldn't you want your neighborhood to look good? There's a house around the corner from my ex-wife's house. Brand new house. It was just built within the past couple of months. Opened up about 3 weeks ago. Family moved in. It looks like a fucking junkyard already. They haven't been there a month and the property looks like a fucking junkyard. I don't get it. I don't understand. The problem is us, people. We can't blame the white man. We can't blame society. We can't blame the system. The problem is us. The solution has to start with us. And I get it. You might not be happy where you're living. You might say, you know what? I only moved into this spot because it was all I could afford. I get it. But it's still where you live. It's still home. Clean that shit up. Make it look hospitable. I've been inside some of these fucking homes around the black community. Oh my fucking God. I cannot believe how some of these people live in squalor. And that has nothing to do with being poor. That's just fucking nasty. And you know what the fuck I'm talking about? Because you've been in some of those houses yourselves. And hell, like I said before, it might be your motherfucking house. Clean that shit up. Clean it up. It don't have shit to do with how much money you make. Being clean is not expensive. But you can walk by some of these houses, and if they got the front door open, when you can fucking smell the inside of the house, walking by on the fucking sidewalk, there's a fucking problem. Wow. Let me tell you something. I used to live by myself for a long time. And, like I said, my whole family has been like, you know, I was always raised to fucking clean up my mess, make sure the trash makes it to the trash. Monday and Thursday is when trash collection is. Every Monday morning, every Thursday morning, we make sure that shit gets to the road so that the trash man can haul that shit away. Because we don't want to keep it in the fucking house. And let me tell you, I've had plenty of days when I've gotten the shit, like missed the garbage man. I bag that shit up and throw that shit in the back of my car and go and take it to a dumpster. Don't let trash sit in the house. My mama always had a rule: dirty dishes don't sit in the sink overnight. The kitchen got to be spotless before anybody goes to bed. Had to be. I grew up in a spotless home. Even after my parents got divorced, my mama was like, yo, clean that shit up. And don't make her have to say it twice. Just clean the shit up. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard to stay clean. It didn't cost anything to stay clean. Pick shit up. If it's garbage, put it in the garbage. If it wasn't garbage, put the shit away properly. That's all. Don't cost money. But I see some of these motherfuckers' houses. Like I said, the smell will knock you the fuck out before you even get into the door. And all I could say was, damn. And don't get me wrong, it's not just black folks. I'm only talking about black folks now because I'm talking about my community, my people. White folks, y'all got some nasty motherfuckers too. You do. So. But I never could understand how these people could be living the way that they're living. It's like they just don't give a fuck. I don't care if you don't give a fuck about the rest of the world, but this is where you lay your head down. Fucking roaches out of control, rats and mice. And you can't blame nobody but your own nasty ass. You walk into some of these bathrooms, you be like, oh my God, I would never sit my ass on the toilet in this house. I wouldn't even go in some of the bathrooms. Some of these people's bedrooms, shit everywhere. You can't even see the floor because for all the shit that's on the floor. Food containers and all types of shit. What the fuck is wrong when somebody is just straight up nasty as hell? I don't understand it, y'all. But what I do understand is that the solution begins with us. You want your life to be better? You gotta fucking change your fucking mind. You gotta get your mind right. And understand, ain't nobody coming to save you. Ain't nobody... listen. I use myself as an example because I got a relative whose house is nasty as fuck. I hate going over there. I mean, it's at a point now where I'm considering sending them out of town for the weekend. Like, yo, I'm gonna book y'all a hotel room, and y'all go have fun, and me hiring somebody to come through and clean their fucking house from top to fucking bottom. The only reason I haven't done that yet is because I know that they'll come back to a spotless house, and before nightfall it'll be totally fucked up again. So I gotta get my mind right and set to understand that if I do this, I'm really just wasting some fucking money. But at the same time, I'm thinking, I just want to see what their house will look like all cleaned up and smelling good. Because they're never going to do it. They're never going to do it. But y'all know who I'm talking about, because I'm sure if it's not you, you got somebody in your own family who lives like that. Their house is like a fucking hellhole. And I bet you do the same thing I do. You'd be like, ah, fuck. Why are y'all living like this? You can't tell them nothing either because they think it's all good. Don't worry about my house. It's my house. All right, well, all right, you live in that shit. Glad I don't have to. Glad I don't have to. All right, everybody. Let me get my ass off of here. I was really bored this morning, but I got to go take care of some things. So, again, thank you to everybody that joined. Thank you to the new followers. I will be back later on just to talk. You know what I'm saying? I might even invite some guests on. So stay tuned. I'm your man's Ken Jackson. This has been the Ken Jackson Experience. Coffee with Ken, whichever you want to call it. It's all good. If you haven't yet, visit my website, www.crazybabytvworld.com, and follow me on social media at crazybabytvworld. Okay? If you haven't yet, please follow me right here on TikTok. I would appreciate it. And I will see y'all later on. Peace. I'm out.